Well, what's going on, Average Joes? I got a lot of series I want to get to that have been on my list for a while, and I just want to see if anybody wants to read them with me. So, how's it going out there? And welcome back. The year is coming to a close fairly soon. So, that means reading plans for next year are being worked out. I was going through I had a list going on through most of the year for potential reads that I wanted to push off to 2022. And I was finally starting to make up my priority tiered list for 2022 coming out soon. But as I was going through them, I was looking them up again. I was trying to gauge which ones I wanted to get to. And I decided I just wanted to do a video about them because a lot of the series that I have are lesser known, lesser talked about series. And that's what I'm going to go over today. So once again, like and subscribe on my videos. If you're enjoying them, please share the love, share the wealth, whatever. But also, please, drop comments on these videos because that's how I like to interact with people and talk about everything there. That's how I like to do things. So the series that I'm going to go over are, like I said, are somewhat lesser known. So I'm not going to talk about like Stormlight or Poppy War, ones that like have been talked about all over different channels and all over the place. These are ones that they popped up here and there, and they've shown up on. And I know I've seen them passed around some, but not a whole lot of traction, not a whole lot of people talking about them on BookTube space. Some of them I'm own, some of them I've had on my radar for a long time because our wish lists are growing so much. I have 3 different wish lists on Amazon for different categories, different types of books. As I was making up my tiered list, sometimes you put a series down and I have to go and look it up and refresh. And as I was looking at that, I was like, man, I just don't know how to rate these, whether I want to make this a priority, a secondary, just a possible one, one of my wild cards, or not even put it on the list at all. Now I'm going to everybody who's watching this, to see if anybody's interested in reading them. I'm not talking like an actual strict buddy read, but we could do that, honestly, if enough people are interested. But I just want to see what other people might be interested in to possibly, team up and read along with, or just, sometime this year, or just like curious about. If anybody wants to know more about some of these, if you're curious about them, let me know, and I will kind of rank them adjust accordingly. And as I was going through these, I actually wrote out like a little bit of a synopsis, or as I've done in the past, I'll read a synopsis, I'll pick out some keywords, assume what it's about, and write a little thing about it, and then tell you about it. So it's all in one place. But as I was doing this, there's like half of these I really want to get to. And now it's going to be even harder to choose. So getting into my list, and I don't have this in any list particularly. I just took them from my potential list and put them on here. So that some of them I've put into my priority and secondary and possibility like tiers on here. Some of them aren't even on my plan for 2022, but I still want to talk about it. So the first one we are going to talk about, a series called The Crimson Empire. This one, I think I've only seen one person even have it pop up on their channel, and it was just like in a book haul. Somebody sent it to them as a gift, and that was that. So The Crimson Empire, I actually own the entire trilogy. So this is one big reason why I want to get to it, because I already own the trilogy. The books look nice. I got these all used, big paperbacks that are pretty good. Even the hardbacks, like that one's blue, the naked hardback, I guess I should say. Yeah, they kind of correspond with the cover, so they might even look better without the freaking covers, honestly. Oh my god, they do. Different color writing. Look at that. Okay, so The Crimson Empire. This one, obviously, okay, all of them sounded good, but okay, so this one, the setup for this one, there was a general that had 5 captains in this great war, and this general won this war for whatever nation there is. Now that general is retired, and the war has come back. The war is starting up, and her village and the land is being torched, and the ones that are behind that are her old captains. I guess they have been recruited by somebody else. So now she has a retired general that is thrust back into war, but she must face her previous allies, her previous 5 captains, for whatever this war is going on. This has the feels, or my initial thoughts are like a video game, like boss fights. Like she's gonna have these 5 different generals that she has to go and defeat again, but they're each going to be specifically different. They're gonna have different tactics, different ways to approach them, to beat them. Their history is going to come into it. How that relationships goes will be very interesting. A lot of times the hero is always the younger, up and coming, thrust into action kind of person, but in a retired general, that's just like sometimes those are just really, really awesome to read because it's like, I don't want any part of this. I left that all behind, but then they kind of have to go into it. They're forced into it instead of just the awkward teen that all of a sudden becomes the chosen one. So I think the setup of this book is really, really good. These are pretty chunky books, fairly. I mean, this is the smallest one, and I think it's just shy of 500 pages. So it's going to be a good bit to it, but I think they're easy to find. I'm pretty sure I bought these used, even though they're in fantastic condition, for fairly cheap on Amazon and some other used bookstores. So I think this, if you want to join or just like buy these, because like I said, these look awesome. I could display these either with the hardcover or with the dust jackets or without. I think that without it looks just as awesome. But that is the Crimson Empire. The first book has a 3.69 on Goodreads. I didn't go into why it's that low, but obviously after that they rise a bit more. So I'm guessing there might be a decent amount of setup in the first book. I'm not really so sure, but sometimes it's just nice to have every once in a while. Like I think I prefer paperbacks, especially ones that are easy to hold, but every once in a while, a nice hardback just feels appropriate to me. The next book on my list, the trilogy is called Obsidian's Path. And this is the first book. And this one's called Blackstone Heart. And this one has actually been making its rounds recently, and the second book has as well. So this one's actually gained a little bit more traction. I believe the third book either recently came out or is going to come out very soon. So the trilogy is about to be complete. I guess that's another thing, is that like all of these are complete except for maybe like one. But Obsidian Path, it's kind of one of those really vague-ish synopsis that I'm not completely sure entirely what it's about. But this person has a Blackstone heart, and that heart has been broken, and now he is going to recover the pieces. Whether that's a metaphorical heart, I don't know. It could actually be a literal heart, and he's kind of trying to gather them up. So he's on a quest. I think his memory has been lost. Not sure completely who he is, but he's on a quest to pick these up. And I think there's also a war going on. There's not a whole lot about that I know about it, so I can't really tell you about it because the synopsis did not say much. But that's what that is. And I know a couple of people have read it and the second one recently. So I would search around for that. It's gotten some good traction. It's got a 4.08 on Goodreads. That's book one, Blackstone Heart. So definitely a hyped up book and series. I believe these are Kindle Unlimited as well. So Kindle Unlimited plug right there, as I should always do. So that's Obsidian Path. Again, not a whole lot I know to say about that. Kingdom of Grit. I think a couple of people I've seen have this or put on their potential list, but I haven't heard much even of people who have actually read it. These are, I think, chunky-ish books as well. I believe I want to get the paperbacks of these because I like the feel of them. Kingdom of Grit consists of con artists, thieves, and a heist. So this main protagonist is a thief who loves all these big ruse heists and very complex heists that he does. I guess I'm thinking Ocean's 11 type depth. And he has been recruited to steal something very big and precious and whatnot. And because it's such a huge heist, such a big job, he has to assemble a team. So now you're assembling a team to do this heist. And much more things are at stake. I think there is a political and power ramifications for whatever they're stealing. So they're going to bite off more than they can chew. And that's basically the setup of what I know. I believe it is a trilogy as well. I haven't read a good heist in a very long time. I really want to read a heist. I know I've debated on just reading the book one of Gentlemen Bastards. I know there's other ones. I think there was one called Thunder Heist that was recently came out of on Kindle Unlimited. There's a bunch of ones out there. I just haven't actually gone and picked up any of these heist thievery type books, and I want to. So this one is very much piques my interest because it's, you read all of these fantasy books and stuff that's just like, oh, war, death, doom and gloom, demons, magic, blah. But sometimes you just want a heist. You just want things to be stolen, want things, heists are usually very smart, and the plots typically everything in a heist, and if it's a really good one, then everything matters. So it makes you pay attention a little bit more deeper to the details in the story versus like in a lot of other fantasy, it's just like, oh, this is just world building. Yeah, that's fine. It's cool. World building, that's fine. But now it's like, with a heist, you really want to pick apart like, oh, is that going to matter later? Oh, I wonder if that's going to matter later. And you just kind of file it away in your brain. Those I really, really like. That's also why I like mysteries, because it makes me, it's much more active to me. Changing things up a little bit, going to culture series. This is a big sci-fi series. So I wanted to get a little bit more into sci-fi. This one has come up on my list in the past, just to try. I have book one. It is a 10-book series though. So, and whenever I pick up these, a lot of times, if anything's more than like a quartet, then I plan on spacing them out a good bit. This might be one that I do like every other month or every couple of months. It depending on how the setup is for them, you can space them out a decent amount. But culture, it is a very grand scale. There was a destruction of galactic proportions. I believe there's just this really big war between these two factions, entities, something like that. I don't know what they are, but there's been two races, and now they are seeking a fugitive mind on a uncolonized planet. So there's a barren planet that they go, and they're seeking this thing. And a crew of mercenaries, I believe, is heading this up, mixed with both human and machine. So again, the synopsis is fairly vague. I don't know completely what's going on, but I assume it's, you have these mercenaries that are made of humans and machines. They're going on the hunt for an artifact. And I feel like in the past, I've heard this series talked about that there is a sort of utopia somewhere, or that they're working for. But it's 10 books. So this is just like the tip of the iceberg for the entire series. And, I don't even know what makes up or consists of a space opera. People throw that around a lot. I don't really exactly sure what that means, but maybe this is one, take a stab at it. Why not? So culture, it's just another one of those really big sci-fi series. The Expanse is about to wrap up. The new book comes out this month, or it's probably already out as of recording this. So that will have wrapped up. I'll probably listen to that shortly after. So I will be wanting a new sci-fi series, and to just mix it up with some more sci-fi. I think the culture could be that, and I'm really interested just to check it out. Next one on my list is War for the Rose Throne. This is grimdark. I've heard this is a very dark, very, very dark story, very grimdark, and that really piques my interest, especially because Ash and Sand, it was one of my favorite books that I've read this year, or a series that I read this year, and I'm looking for more grimdark. I'm looking for that feel. This is also the series that I think in book 2 or 3, the author put Petrick into the book and killed him off right away. So this is the series that killed off Petrick. If you wanted to read a book that killed off Petrick, then there you go, if you know who Petrick is. So there are street gangs and a lot of political intrigue with this. This is the series also that has been compared to Peaky Blinders. So it's going to have a industrial, darker, maybe late 1800s, early 1900s type of feel to the setting. And it's going to be gritty and dark, dealing with gangs and violence and illegal stuff. And I don't fully know what is going on, but that's the setup. And I've watched I think I've watched 4 seasons of Peaky Blinders. Really, really liked it. Really like that setting. I really like grimdark. And, I haven't read a whole lot that has to do with street gangs and that gang type culture. So I think this would be really cool to pick up. I think I only own like one of the books, and it was like book 3 because it was on sale. This is the one that I think isn't complete yet, but it's about to be. I think next year is the final book that comes out. I think there's 4 or 5 books in it. So it will be wrapping up early next year. So it'll be out by the time I even get to it anyway. Next one, this is the other sci-fi that is on this list. I put 2 sci-fi on here. I'm going to blame Alan for this one from the Library of Alexandria, because back in like the spring or summer, he had a poll that went up that for what series he should read next for Buddy Read. It ended up being Shadow of the App, but Safehold was on there, and I knew nothing about it, never seen it before, but now I am all about it. So Safehold, humanity has almost been wiped out by this alien species. So Earth, the moon, whatever other places they colonize have been completely desolate and wiped out. So they flee to the stars to an Earth-like planet called Safehold through mind control, a very serious religious, very serious religious doctrine, or maybe even mind control, brainwashing, and high technology. Everybody thinks that it's the medieval times. So basically, technology, the higher ups forced technology to restart to all the lower, the civilians, the masses, thinking, and they just think they're in the Renaissance. It's the Renaissance period again, but there's actually higher technology because they've traveled the stars. So there's a feeling of repression there. 800 years after they come to Safehold is when the story kind of picks up. And I guess an android wakes up and has the memories of some lieutenant from back when they first colonized. And then the story goes into else from there. So right off the bat, you got, this medieval society that actually could or should be um, technologically advanced, but the superiors are keeping their mind controlled and them stifled, so they don't know that. So there's that oppression, but it's like a for your own good, because this alien race still knows that the people are out there and they can sense technology, and then they come and wipe them out. That's kind of what I gathered. They know when industry is happening, they can detect it, and then they just go and wipe it out like it's competition. I have no idea where the story is going to go. I'm not sure how many books it is, 4 or 5. It's more than a trilogy, I know that, but it sounds really interesting, really intriguing. The medieval part of it makes it have like a little bit of a fancy feels, but it's definitely sci-fi in nature. Book 1 has 4.14, which is pretty high for a first book in a longer series. They tend to be just under 4 a lot of times because people will pick it up and might not be for them and they go. So really interested in Safehold. Next one I have is Black Iron Legacy. This one is another one that deals with thieves, and these are thieves that have been pulled into a war. They are betrayed by their master, sold out by the Thieves Guild, and are now seeking revenge for being sold out, and are now also being pulled into this war that is happening. And that's basically all I know. First book is 3.87 in this. The Gutter Prayer, I believe, is the name of the first book. The third and final book has just came out recently, and I have a couple of times I've seen this one go around, and I've heard really, really high praise for this one. It took a while. I think there was a long break in between books, but I know this has been on my list for a couple of years now, and I've wanted to get to it. It sounds really good. Another, more thieves. Each of the thieves have their own certain background. I think there were 3 different types of races. Like one of them is afflicted with this, like he's got like a stone man, but I think it's almost like the thing that happened in A Song of Ice and Fire to Jorah Mormont when he becomes all crackly and stuff. I think that's what one of the person is. So that he's living on borrowed time, and the other people have their own stuff going on. So that's the Black Iron Legacy. Not a whole lot to say on that one. The last one I have, I believe, Zara from the books with Zara is going to read this either in December, started in December or something, but it is called West of West. And the first book, I mean, the title alone got me into the title, and the title and the cover alone got me into this, and that is You Die When You Die. Oh, it'll focus. You Die When You Die. Really, really awesome. And this is the next one. So this is a trilogy. It has a lot of Nordic feels and the battle and glory. They're raised to battle. They feel that, you don't be afraid of battle. Either you're going to die or you're going to be celebrating and drinking mead afterwards. So the settlement has been destroyed, and now the main protagonist is on a quest to either avenge them or struggle for survival against this rival clan that took out his village. They are mismatched refugees. There's going to be battle with animals, monsters, assassins on this quest for either revenge, redemption, glory, a mix of those things. So Nordic feels, Nordic vibes. I mean, he even has the sax and the shield on there. So if you're feeling that sort of mood, I believe this was nominated. This is one of the nominees for an award that David Gemmell does and gives out each year. So I know a lot of people love David Gemmell. So this is, got a stamp of approval from him, I guess you could say. I thought I had another one or two on there. I don't want to overflood too much because there's just always going to be a new series. I'm working on my priority tiered list for 2022. And this is just what I wanted to pull out. I wanted to see if anybody wants to read, because I know they don't get a lot of traction and people might not know what they're about. So what sounds the best to you? What's your favorite? What's your second favorite? What are your top 2 books or series that you would want to get into from this list? Let me know. It might affect what I read, what I put on my list. If you want to join me, then let me know, and I can even tell you forecast if there's a month or 2 that I feel like that I'm going to start it, and we can plan there. But let me know if any of these sound good to you, and we can chat more in the comments.